credit, combined with the faulty assumption that home values would continue to rise, led to excesses and bad decisions. Many mortgage lenders approved loans for borrowers without carefully examining their ability to pay. Many borrowers took out loans larger than they could afford, assuming that they could sell or refinance their homes at a higher price later on.
That was President Bush earlier tonight. With us now for reaction to the president's bailout plan, the author of Drill Here, Drill Now, Pay Less, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, welcome back. What do you think of this plan?
Alan, well, first of all, I'm glad you came on first because I'm talking to you from Oberlin College, a bastion of people who love you and think you're the right guy for this program. So
now you know how I feel sometimes when he's talking to you and Hannity.
Listen, I think this is an appallingly bad plan. I think it will be an engine of corruption. I think that if you read the fine print, the idea that the Secretary of the Treasury intends to buy assets at above their market value means that one of two things. Either the current snapshot model of marking to market is wrong, and we ought to replace it with a rolling mark to market, in which case we'd know the true value, or the Secretary of the Treasury intends to enrich some people by paying them more than they could get while not enriching other people. And I think this is going to be a nightmare to implement, and I believe it is about as bad as anything I've seen in economic policy since I've been active in public life.
These are some of the most strident comments I've heard against this plan. Then what do you think should be done?
I think, first of all, they should replace the current snapshot to market with a rolling 3-year average. I think, second, they should change the current loan reserve pattern so that it's not pro-cyclical. I think, third, they should have zero capital gains. I think, fourth, they need to adopt an energy plan to keep about $500 billion a year here at home instead of going overseas. But at a practical level, if they need to open up a window to loan money at Treasury plus 2%, and people want to come in and borrow the money, and the responsibility of a workout, not a bailout, and those people want to work their way out over the next 3 to 5 years, I'm comfortable saying this is a liquidity crisis. Let's meet it. Let's loan the money, but let's make sure they are responsible for their bad debt, and they're going to work their way out. This idea that we're going to buy the paper and some bureaucrat in Washington is going to be responsible for $700 billion in bad paper, I think is socialism at its worst. I can't imagine why this administration is doing it. I think it is profoundly wrong, and I hope it is defeated if it comes to the floor in this form.
All right, Mr. Speaker, let me ask you this. Let's talk about the political side. There's been a lot happening today. John McCain suspending his campaign, and saying the debate should be put off while this bill is being debated and while this crisis is being solved. Now, as I said to Jack Welch, Barack Obama said today that this is the worst financial crisis we have faced since the Great Depression. He said every American has a stake in saving the financial system from collapse. If we don't act soon, then people's jobs, savings, and the economic security of millions of Americans will be put at risk. That's what he said. And then in the next breath, he said, if you need me, if I can be helpful, I'm prepared to be there at any point. If it's that serious, and I'm using Obama's words, why wouldn't he put off the debate? Because he's avoided them all summer because John McCain has offered, 10 town hall meetings with him. Why wouldn't he put off the debate and get this solved for the American people, considering he's saying it's so serious?
Well, based on what the President said tonight, I think it depends about tomorrow morning's meeting. If Senator McCain is prepared to accept this monstrosity, then frankly they might as well debate Friday night. If Senator Obama is prepared to accept this monstrosity, then they can debate Friday night. If either of them thinks this needs to be profoundly rewritten, as I do, and get to a much better bill, then they shouldn't debate Friday night. They should spend the weekend rewriting this dramatically. I think the question that...
I don't want to interrupt you, but for the record, both have said that there need to be dramatic changes to this, and that there's got to be more accountability. And I don't know that anyone's on board for the $700 billion without the accountability. And many of the very same criticisms you're laying out here tonight were made by Senator McCain and some others.
Well, if this is going to be dramatically and substantially rewritten, then clearly they ought to be prepared to meet all weekend. They ought to postpone the debate. I think it will be a tremendous sign for America and the world if Senator Obama would agree to work side by side with Senator McCain, jointly try to develop a joint bill. I think it will be a great act of patriotism and good for the whole country. and I think it would put them beyond partisan maneuvering. So I would hope that Senator Obama would reconsider. I think the idea that Senator McCain's prepared to work while Senator Obama wants to go talk doesn't speak well for Senator Obama's judgment.
Well, and certainly they're not even talking about economic policy. This was supposed to be a foreign policy debate on top of all of this here. The McCain campaign has accused Obama of cheerleading the crisis. The Obama campaign has actually come out with ads using the crisis for a fundraising pitch. Now, one of the things that I noticed about Senator Obama's statement earlier today is he kept bringing up greed on Wall Street. He's got two economic advisors. One was leading up his vice presidential selection campaign, Jim Johnson. He used to work at Fannie Mae. He was a top exec at Lehman Brothers. He made tens of millions of dollars. And the Washington Post had reported that Frank Raines made $90 million in 6 years as the head of Fannie Mae, and that he has been an economic advisor for Barack Obama. How can we solve the crisis and the greed that Obama's talking about if we don't start putting some of these guys under oath and the money that they donated all these, members of the banking committee, et cetera?
Well, I was going to say, let's start with putting under oath some of the members of Congress. I mean, Senator Dodd, who will presumably be helping write this bill, was the largest single recipient of money from both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Senator Obama was second. Senator Clinton was the largest recipient from Lehman Brothers. Senator Obama was second. I think Congress ought to also be under investigation. If we're going to look at greed, let's look at the politicians as well as the people who gave to them.
And put them under oath under the threat of perjury, the heads of these committees, those that got money from Fannie and Freddie, because that is also a big part of the equation. If we're not going to look at the problems and what caused them, we're going to be doomed to repeat them. Now, by the way, special programming note, you've had a big success with Drill Here, Drill Now, Pay Less, and you'll join us tomorrow night and we'll talk about that. Mr. Speaker, thank you for taking time to be with us.
Thank you.